Hi, Eric Lanask here with TMC. We're in New York City at Cloud Expo, and I'm talking with David Holmes. David is with Outsystems. David, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, one of the advantages of leveraging cloud computing and cloud resources is obviously we can do things much more quickly. And certainly that's one of the trends, one of the reasons people start moving to cloud. What are some of the trends that you're seeing around how enterprises are doing things more quickly and more rapidly in the cloud?
Well, that's certainly exactly the business that Outsystems is in. So there's a couple things. The companies that need to build applications quickly, especially when it comes to something like mobile, need to get it done fast, need to be able to iterate very quickly on those applications. A lot of cases they don't want to or have to take the time to set up the infrastructure to make that work, especially until they understand whether the application is going to be meaningful to the business. So a lot of this is trial and getting things deployed and testing and getting adoption and then making decisions about actual infrastructure. From a cloud perspective, what Outsystems offers is the high performance or high productivity nature of application development in the cloud. So the analyst community talks about it as PaaS, Platform as a Service. Within that, there's really two categories of products. There's the roll your own, if you will, write your own Java code, write your own Ruby in the cloud. And then there's the high productivity providers like ourselves, which means pretty much any developer can jump into our platform and start building applications very quickly using visual modeling techniques, and then deploy them as responsive web designed applications with HTML5 from the user interface perspective, and Java or .NET on the back end. So a very open approach to application development done in a very rapid way, enabling organizations to leverage their legacy systems, leverage their legacy data and applications, and extend that to their sales force, to their customers, to their agents, in a way that's effective on a mobile device in the moment of an interaction with the customer.
So when we're talking about, and in particular, mobile applications, as you've referenced a couple of times, we seem to be nearing what I guess is a near continuous development cycle, development and upgrade cycle. How do you handle something like that?
No, that's a very, very important part of mobile. IT has always struggled to maintain applications at the speed of business, at the speed that users need them. In mobile, it's no longer an option, it's an imperative. As you know, and as I'm sure some of the customers and people you've talked to here, as soon as a mobile application is rolled out, I very quickly decide whether this is something I want to use or not. It's either doing what I want it to do or giving me the data I need or responding well or not. So adoption is absolutely critical. Therefore, IT or whoever's built this application needs to respond very quickly to user requirements or user feedback. So this notion of continuous iteration is paramount to making mobile applications successful and highly adopted. And again, that's something that we believe we excel at. Have a session here in a couple of hours here at the show where we're going to do exactly that within 20 minutes. We're going to have everybody log into a mobile application. I'm going to go in and request a change, and one of our engineers is going to go into the platform, make that change, and redeploy the application within 20 minutes. So very rapid iteration cycle.
How well or how quickly are enterprise developers gaining an understanding of, as you say, what the analyst community has come to reference as PaaS?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's when we find people that realize that the way they're building applications today is not going to meet the needs of current systems, not going to meet the needs of either mobile or systems of engagement, and they're willing to take a look at doing things differently. We have a high rate of success of getting them productive and much more successful in their application development efforts. The challenge is for them to realize that they need to do that. And if you've got a shop full of Java developers, .NET developers, C# developers, whatever, and you've been building applications a certain way for 5 or 6 years, there's a why rock the boat? I'm doing things, I've got these developers, they're really good, they know what they're doing. And what we have to do then is get them to understand the benefits of adopting a solution like ours, that it won't be disruptive to the way they're doing things today. They can continue to build the way they do for the applications they want to, but by adopting this platform, our customers have stated 3, 4, 5 times improvements in productivity. And what that typically means is they're just doing a lot more with the same. So if they have 5 or 6 Java developers. Now instead of rolling out one application a year with a couple of changes, they're rolling out multiple applications, and they're doing it in months instead of years. So once we get an opportunity to get the platform in front of someone and they've tried their first project or done a pilot, they understand pretty immediately the ROI and the benefits of using the platform.
Now, something that I've been hearing a lot more of lately is that the decisions to start leveraging these platforms and the need to develop and redevelop applications much more quickly isn't being driven as much as it impacts IT, isn't being driven as much by IT as it may have been at one point. Rather, it's being driven more by the business decision makers.
There's definitely a resurgence, if you will, of the citizen developer, of business kind of taking things into their own hands. IT calls that shadow IT, right? When somebody outside the IT organization builds something that, as IT, I eventually have to inherit and then deal with. It's not a good thing for IT typically. But if done in something like the Outsystems platform that's built for enterprise scale and enterprise applications, people without a lot of development experience can go off and prototype and build initial applications, and then it transitions pretty seamlessly to IT. Another parallel to what you were saying is a lot of what's driving the cloud isn't necessarily the CIO or the executives going, we have to be to the cloud. It's the developers going, I want to build something now, and I don't want to deal with all the internal stuff I got to deal with to get things provisioned, to get things approved, to get servers stood up, to understand my backup procedures and everything else. I can just go to the cloud and start building. Whether it's I build by hand in some other PaaS type solution, or I use something like an Outsystems where I can build things very rapidly. So we're seeing a lot of developers take their own initiative to prototype out an app where it's just taking too long to have other people make that decision. A great example of that is we have a freemium version of the platform available on Outsystems.com. We've got 7,000 developers that have claimed an account since the beginning of the year, and have a lot of great stories of the applications that they've built with no official training from us. They've just gone to the videos online, read the documentation, watched what other people have done. And it's a broad range of skills, from COBOL developers to Lotus Notes developers to your citizen developers, somebody who's done nothing but Visual Basic Access before, that have been successful in picking up the platform and building things they never thought possible. So there's really this grassroots initiative, if you will, of developers kind of taking control of their own destiny as well, picking out tools that they can that are available to them to build things quickly.
So between the combination of sort of those grassroots movements or shadow IT and the need to develop more quickly, more rapidly, and deliver to market, to users more quickly, are there security ramifications or things that developers might be unintentionally overlooking when it comes to security?
So it's again a great question. If people are taking it into their own hands to build applications and do things, are there the proper provisions and governance and that type of thing? Again, being a little self-serving in this statement, Outsystems platform has built within the infrastructure, built within the models inherently all of the NFL, the non-functional, or NFRs, I'm sorry, non-functional requirements. So the notion of security, governance, scalability, reliability, backup, restore, all of those capabilities are fundamentally inherited and built into the application. Our code is actually certified through HP Fortify. So in terms of web style attacks and vulnerabilities, the code is certified, and being a application delivery technology, the applications are delivered consistently every time out of the model. So knowing that the code has already gone through that certification process, we're actually going to give you a better opportunity to build applications that are secure through a platform like ours than if you were just to go off and start writing code by hand.
Excellent. David, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate you stopping by.